Hey guys, Ted here from Sportsman's Finest with our friends from Pakmule, continuing on with our fly fishing series. Today I'm going to talk to you about stringing up your fly rod and reel setup. Sometimes it can be a little bit confusing for folks. There's more pieces. There's not a lot of pieces, but you got more pieces than maybe a single piece spinning rod or bait caster. So for some, it might be a little bit like, how do I line all this up? Anyway, when you get the rod out of your case, a lot of time it comes in a sleeve like this. What I'm going to do is I'm basically going to take these sections out of the sleeve. Okay, so you got on this rod right here, I got a 4-piece fly rod, which is pretty common in the fly rod world. You're pretty much going to see primarily 4-piece rods nowadays, which is nice. They travel well and they store well. So the technology's improved so much that 4-piece rods are pretty much the norm. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I took my reel out of my case, and when we put the rod together, what I'm going to have you guys get in the habit of doing, again, when you look at these pieces, you're going to kind of notice, like, how do I know which piece goes together? It's kind of like once you realize that, the rod does have a taper, starts thick at the bottom and goes to the thin tip. So you should be able to pick out the two thin top sections. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to put the two top sections together. I'm going to take the tip section and then the section right below the tip section. And some rods have line-up dots, which are nice, the alignment dots. This rod does, some don't. But when you put a rod together, if you're going to use those alignment dots, and even if you're not using alignment dots, what you don't want to do is just take this and jam the rod together. Get in the habit of, when you start this, put the rod a little bit offset of where you want it. So when you put it together, you're pushing down and twisting it slightly into place. So you kind of push down and twist into place to where you want it. Once you get those two top sections down, I'm going to take my rod, I'm going to look down the back of the rod, and underneath I'll see the guides there, and they look pretty nice and lined up. Then I'm going to go to my bottom sections. I'm going to take the butt section here, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put it with this section here, and I'm going to look, so my alignment dots where they are, but I'm going to have them a little bit offset. Then I'm going to take the two pieces, and I'm going to push them together and then twist it into place, okay? Twist it into place. All right, I twisted it into place. Now I'll take the top sections, and I'm going to put it together with the bottom section. Then our rod will be complete. So again, I'm going to take this. It's a little bit off, I have it a little bit offset, and then I take these two and I twist it into place and pushing down as I'm twisting in place. You don't have to jam this super hard. You don't want to get it to where you're like, ah, you shouldn't have to jam it too hard because you may never get it apart. All right, so now once I have that together, again, I'm going to take this, I'm going to look down the back of the rod, and I can see the guides underneath, and you can a lot of time look, and you'll see if those things are a little bit offset, and you may kind of look this way. Whatever works best for you to figure out your best alignment on your guides and how your rod's lined up. Now, when I attach my reel, we haven't talked about this yet in this series, but when you're a right-handed caster, you're usually going to be reeling with your left hand, okay? So if you're a left-handed caster, if you're casting with your left hand, you'd reel with your right hand. So as a right-handed caster, when I attach this reel to the rod, I'm going to have the handle to where the handle's going to be on the left side of the rod, okay? So to do this, when you put a reel onto a fly rod, on the top section here of the reel seat, which this is referred to, I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this reel foot, there's a hood, there's a recess, there's kind of a place called the hood. Your foot will fit right in there. And then again, once I get that in there locked, I'm going to kind of hold onto the reel and the handle. And then this is going to be this is my locking ring here, my little ring that's going to slip up over my foot here. So I'm going to take this ring, I'm going to slide it up. And again, there's another kind of curved recess that foot's going to go in. So the foot has a shape kind of like this, and so does this. There's a hole in these two sections right here that kind of have that where that foot will slide into. So again, I push that on. Now this rod and reel seat has two rings. So I'm going to take this first ring, I'm going to twist it and just kind of lock it. Now what's nice about this second ring, it's kind of a locking ring. So I'm going to take this one, I'm going to push it against there also. So that kind of keeps that, it kind of helps prevent that first ring from backing out. Now what we want to do is we're going to take the fly line and leader off the bottom of the reel. So I'm going to have this come off the bottom of the reel here. So you can see as I'm pulling this off, it's going to come off the bottom of the reel. If it's coming off the top, you got problems. So again, I'm going to pull this off the bottom here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my leader. I've got a leader attached to this fly line, so I'm going to pull this leader off here. Now I'm going to pull off about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strands of fly line here. What that's going to give me, what's going to allow me to do is have some extra line that I'm not going to fight as I'm stringing this rod up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and we're going to double this fly line over into this little loop here. Instead of going to the end of this leader and pulling just that end through, we're going to double this loop over, and we're going to feed it through the guides. So when you're stringing this up, we're going to feed it through the guides. I'm going to set this on the butt of the rod, so I'm going to just continue feeding this through the guides. And the beauty of this, when you have this like this, when you have this little loop on here, as you're stringing up the guides, sometimes as you're in a hurry and you're excited you're going to catch fish, and you're shaking and you're excited you're going to do something, or a mosquito bites you, you let go, and that loop gets caught there, so it doesn't go all the way through. Sometimes if you don't have that loop in there, everything slides right through the guides. You got to start all over again. So that's kind of a little tip. It's a pretty common little tip when people rig up fly reels, but if you're new to it, just kind of put that in your bag of tricks. So again, I'm going to pull this to the top. Now the other thing you want to do is, the other part of the reason I had all the extra fly line, excess fly line off here, what I want you to do is I want you to get in the habit of, I'm going to pull this leader through, okay? I'm going to pull my leader through. Again, that's the monofilament that's connected to the fly line. I'm going to pull that through. Now I'm going to pull this fly line through. So you see I'm pulling this fly line through like this, and now I'm pretty much set with fly line out of the tip, and I have no bend in the rod. What I don't want you to get in the habit of doing is this, is a lot of time, if we were to just go through this and pull just the leader through without, or if I didn't have all that extra fly line out, I would get to this point here, and you can see to where there's no slack here. So a lot of times what people do is they're not thinking, and they go down here and they think they're going to pull against that reel to get line off of there. If you see the tip on this rod, these tips are, if you see the bend in this tip, these rods are super powerful, but that tip section's pretty, you need to be respectful of that tip. If I pull too much harder in such a sharp bend, you can actually snap the tip. So again, instead of trying to rely on pulling the line off the reel, get in the habit of just taking this line and pulling it off. See, I'm pulling this fly line off here, and then you can kind of pull it off there. But the good thing to do is just come up here, be respectful of this tip when you're setting stuff up, and just pull this through like this, and you're essentially good to go, and you have the rod rigged up and ready to go start doing some casting. If you guys found this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe. Pakmule has a series of videos that are dedicated to helping people get outdoors.